All right, and we're live. We're here with Ryder and
Nick,
myself, Nick. um, yeah, so we're continuing on with the refactoring. Let's see, last week we did our first refactoring. We did the, what was it called? See, there I go, blank.
extract method.
Extract method. So we did the extract method, and I believe, yeah. So now we're going to move on and do the next refactoring phase, which is the move method. So let's share my screen. Showing it. Need to rearrange windows here for a second. All right.
Oh, and I've got a hard stop at 2 o'clock. Just to put that
Okay.
out.
All right. I'd say that's like 5 hours from now, 4 hours.
Oh,
So you must be Eastern time.
yeah, exactly.
All right, no worries. I'd like to stop right at 11. So yeah, we can stop at that time. That's no problem. All right. So yeah. I really dislike working on this C9. It's pretty cool system and everything, but
What don't you like about it?
um well, when I've used it in the past, I lost some work on it once, and so after that I didn't use it anymore. But but then here it's kind of hard just to like expand the window to full screen so we can just look at code. I don't know, maybe I can close this, but then I don't know how to open it up again. But yeah, I just can't take this. I don't know if I can take this file. I have no idea what I did there.
Well, you split your pane, so now you've got a top pane with customer RB and a bottom pane with 4 open files.
Oh, that's terrible. I don't want that. Great. I just screwed it all up. Alrighty. So anyway. All right. So we did the extract method, and now our amount for rental is down here. So I think moving on, I forget which page we left off on first. Okay, here we go. So we should be, so we just finished page 11. Yeah. I like this tip. Any fool can write code that a computer can understand. Good programmers write code that humans can understand.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So I don't know how often when I first started learning programming, I'd write a program and it's like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And then 6 months later, I go back and look at it. It's like, what the hell is this? What does this do?
Right.
So, all right. So now, so yeah. So next, we're going to use the move method. And the reason he's saying we need to move it to the rental class, yeah. So he's saying this method that we've now extracted, it doesn't really have anything that belongs to the customer class. It's all related to rentals. So he says this really belongs in the rental class. So now we're going to move the method to the rental class. So you just basically just copy and paste that into the rental class and make some adjustments. So I don't know. Do you have the book writer or
No,
yeah. Oh, you don't?
no. I've got the original, which is, written in C#.
Oh, was it C sharp?
I thought it was C#.
I thought it was Java.
Java. So Uncle Bob's books tend to be in Java. Oh, I guess it's up in my room right now, so I can't go check. You might be right. They're so similar, you know, it's like,
Yeah, they are. Well, I don't know C sharp, but I think whenever I look at a C language, it reminds me of Java.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. So I guess, I don't know, go ahead and cut
Yeah,
this
let's
off.
pop it over. I mean, but before we do it, let's just run our tests and make sure everything's green,
That sounds like a
just
good
as a
idea.
sanity check.
Let's see, tests. Should create a rake task for this. I just type in one word.
Cool, right on.
Here we go. Rake task for our 7 tests. All right, so copy over to our rental class. Boom. And so now that it's in the rental class, so when we call it in the movie class, sorry, the customer class, let's see, where do we call it? Amount for. All right, here. So now that it's in the rental class,
Stuff's broken. We just broke stuff.
we just broke stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
So here we go. So here we're cycling through the rentals array, which each element, I think this gets renamed later. I don't
Yeah,
if he names it now.
It surely will. It's a terrible name.
Yeah.
That just like it sets my teeth on edge whenever I name it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So each element. So now that we got that rental, I think I just want to rename it now. Let's see, where does he rename this at? Customer class.
Well, so here's the thing. Renaming that is definitely a refactoring step. And right now we've done a refactor which already broke our tests.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
One change at a time is generally a
so here we go. So I think yeah, you're absolutely right. So what he does is that he's going to take this amount for element. So he still has it in here. Oh, I'm typing in the wrong spot.
Yeah, I mean, we had it under the statement method until a moment ago. Oh, I see. It's auto completing you the def.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that.
So on 17, you're already making the call to get that.
So here we had the function down here. So now what he's doing is, well, this was called rental. Now what he's saying is just we're going to say rental.charge. And then over here in the rental.
What are you doing? Keep talking.
Hey, this is what he's got. It all gets worked out.
No, but like writing code blindly because it's what's on the page is like not my style. You can do it in a setting like this.
Yeah, so let's I don't know, I think we should start over. Let me
well, we don't need to start over. We just
So let's start over. Okay. So this is what it is originally. So I think I copied too much. So I just want the inside of the method here. And we're going to cut off all the goodness of the method here. And then in the rental, we're going to call it charge. Paste it in there. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I hate the method name charge here, and I'll tell you why. If you talk about command query separation, right? So a query is something that returns data. It does not have side effects. And a command is something which has side effects, which does a thing. And the need and the desire to keep those things separate. Right here, this charge method, have you heard about command query separation before?
It seems like you're going to charge them, but all you want is the price of the rental.
Yeah,
right?
all you're doing is actually
charge.
Yes,
the price that they were already charged.
You're giving a command name to a query method.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like that name either. I hear you on that.
So let's think of some better names. Get price is one possibility.
Although we're working with Ruby, so we don't really want get price. That sounds like a Java name.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. So you could say price.
Price. Let's see. So what we're doing, what we're really doing is, so a customer has some rentals, and the rentals all have a price, but they're not all the same price, because if he has for more than a few days, then he's going to be charged more.
Yeah, so it could be that charge is meant to be used as a noun here. The issue is that in English, it can be either a noun or a verb.
Yeah.
And that's where the confusion enters in.
Yeah, that's very, yeah, I think so.
So like you said, the price is different. So we don't like get price. It's not a Ruby-like name. You're right. I work in .NET during the day, and I apologize.
Shame on you. Yeah, I'm thinking about learning that, because I think there's a lot of
.NET is great.
I think there's a lot of more jobs available for that too.
I don't know how things are in your neck of the woods, Nick, but here in the Midwest, there's so much more .NET than there is Ruby.
Yeah, I think probably the same. I think it's probably like that everywhere.
Yeah. So if you ever want to work .NET, it's a beautiful language. Maybe after going through this in Ruby, we could go through it in if it is .NET. But maybe you're right. Now you've got me thinking you're right, and it is Java. So yeah, price, no, right? Charge, we don't like charge. So what it is, can we look at that rental RB again? Yeah, so result, I also don't like this name result. I know it might be better than this amount, which is what was there before, and y'all refactored that last session, I think. But like something more specific than result, because whatever result is, that's what that method returns, and that's probably what the method should also be called.
Amount. Rental, because we're assigning it to a variable called amount.
Yeah.
Rental dot amount, or rental dot what was the other?
What's wrong with price again?
Price. I don't know. Price makes it seem like that each rental has the same. Like, I don't know, because we're doing some sort of calculation. So I almost want to do like charge calculation or price calculation. But maybe that's not too Ruby either. I don't know.
Yeah. So calculate price.
Yeah, like rental dot.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just still stuck on price calculation.
So rental dot calculate price. Because another one that I like is rental dot payment due.
Oh, that yeah.
Or amount owed. Charge would be a fantastic name. It would be the perfect name if it weren't for this semantic overlap.
Yeah.
With the verb.
Yeah, and I mean, when I was reading the book, I thought, oh, that's a great name, and then And then after a minute thinking about it, I was like, it's kind of confusing too. And that's exactly, I think you nailed it, is because it can be used as a noun and a verb.
So I like amount due. I think amount due is better than charge. But I think we should either change it and move on, or leave it as it is and move on. I don't think we should spend a lot more time on this.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I like amount due. So do you, unless you have any objection to amount due, I was thinking that's what I would put.
Rental dot amount due equals amount equals rental dot amount due. Yeah, that sounds good.
And that it does take in an argument, which is rental.
No,
no, it is on rental. Exactly. Okay.
We're on the rental class.
Perfect. But
we can go to the customer class.
We are going to need to get rid of this. Every reference to rental on 10, 13, 15, and 18 we'll need to get rid of. And yeah.
Yeah, but not right now. I mean, I think so. Right here, we're calling this method amount for element. So he just says simply say, okay, we got the rental, and we're going to call our amount. What was that, underscore due?
Mm-hmm.
And that's all he does right now. He gets rid of this in a minute, I think. And then he checks. What he says is when you're refactoring, make the smallest possible. That way, if something does break, you don't have to go. You only have to go back just a little bit
with
to
that
figure out,
Nick. It's
what went wrong.
Broken right now. Like if you run the test, it's broken.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, writer. You'll have to catch me up to speed then.
No worries. So basically, on the, if we go back to our rental, right? So this amount due right here, this rental, again, on lines 10, 13, 15, and 18, where is that coming from?
All right.
So I can tell you for a fact that that is a problem with the current code. And if we get rid of that, we will resolve a problem with the current code. Will the resolution of that problem fix our test suite entirely? I cannot say, because I'm not sure what the problem, I'm not sure what failures we're seeing right now.
Yeah, so, right. So now that we're in, now that we moved it to the rental class, we don't have to pass in every place where we see this rental dot.
Yeah.
We just get rid of that.
Yeah, exactly.
The variable. I think if I hold down,
whoa, how are you doing that?
So you got to know that stuff to do refactoring.
So I would have done a find and replace, but what did you just do?
It's multi highlight.
How do you do that?
So on this IDE, you hold down, I don't know, are you on Control Alt and do right, or Control Option if you're on a Mac and do the right key?
Oh my gosh. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. All right. Control Option thing. Thank you so much. I had no idea that was a thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's valuable, very valuable.
Like I know in Atom you can do like command click and give yourself a bunch of cursors, you know, and I could do each of these individually that way. But that is really cool to know, and thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah,
that's super cool. Right. And when I can get all the wins the same way, I can get days rented the same way. Wow, that's really awesome. Great.
All right.
Happy to learn. This is one of my favorite things about mobs, is the stuff that you just pick up incidentally.
Little things, huh? I had someone show me that last year. I was like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever seen that before, Nick.
And then the same guy was asking me, why do you type everything out on the command line? I'm like, how else are you supposed to get the words into the command line? He's like, just hit tab. I'm like, oh.
So,
right?
complete.
To autocomplete the tab.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
Like, that's so awesome.
It is awesome. These things really save you time over time.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for teaching me that. So we'll run that again, and now it's fixed. Great.
Sweet. All right, so that was the move method.
Yeah.
Seemed a lot harder in practice than on paper. Yeah, so I guess one thing you got to watch out for when you're doing refactoring is all those local variables that you were passing around. You got to make sure you take account for that. And I guess there are refactoring tools. Have you?
So
have
yeah,
you used
100%.
refactoring
Yes,
tools?
that's exactly what I use, right? So if we had been using like RubyMine's extract method refactoring, it would have said, hey, there's this local variable being referred to in this method, and it would have given us a parameter that was getting passed in.
Oh, wow. I've never used RubyMine before, so I didn't. That's interesting.
I'm just looking up extract method C9 to see if there's anything in it, but it looks like there might not be.
So do you tell it to do the extract method, or?
Yeah, you just right click on your selection and you get a refactor this button, and then one of the options is extract method.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So I thought when he mentioned Ruby tools that it actually analyzes your code, but I guess that's not the case.
No, I mean it looks when you say analyze.
I'm sorry, it analyzes all of your code and suggests like, oh, you could refactor this.
Oh, if you want that, you should get Rubocop. We should just put Rubocop on the project.
Oh, Rubocop does that? No way.
Yeah. Rubocop is a linter and a style kind of guide or enforcer, and you just run it, and it tells you everything that's shitty about your code. And of course, you can couple that with a code analysis tool like Code Climate and/or Simple Cov, which are going to give you metrics on code coverage and different stuff. Those tools all have some overlap with each other, but they're ultimately about the maintainability of the code.
Okay.
So we can add any of those to this project anytime. Probably not today because we've got other things to do. But great. So we fixed that. We've got our amount.
All right. So the next step is to find, I think we already did that. Let's see, to find every reference to the old method and adjust the reference to use the new method as follows. Oh, but it was only in one place. So
yeah, and I mean, all our tests are passing. So
yeah.
You know,
I'm just trying to catch the book up to where we're at. I think we kind of skipped. Oh, are you still there, Ryder?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Thinking about how much I hate this amount due method, but the guts of it. The guts of it.
The guts of it.
It's just too complex, but I'm hoping that he'll come back to that later. It's just there's too much going on. There's all these magic numbers.
Yeah.
And like the way it arrives at these calculations, I just have to think there's an easier way to do that. And then also this anti-pattern of every single branch of this case statement is mutating result. And you just don't have to do it that way.
Okay.
Like in Ruby, you can assign the output of a case statement to a variable rather than having result like that. But that is all stuff that we can look at in due time.
Sounds good. Yeah, I wonder if he does. I would think he covers that. I hope he does.
Could be. I would hope so. Yeah.
All right. What time is it? 10:40. All right. All right. So, man, all right. I need to make sure I review what we're going to cover for the next week ahead of time. This kind of sucks.
Oh, no, this is good. This is good. So we've got amount 4 that we changed. And then, so we've got that out of the body of this, and we put it on the rental class where it makes a lot more sense.
Yep. All right. So, okay. Ha ha ha. So this is what I was getting to. Before we started recording, you asked me what was my favorite part so far.
Yeah, yeah.
So here it is, Ryder. The next refactoring step. He calls it replace temp with query. And so that's where he's going to take in the customer class, where he uses this amount. So he's just going to
replace it with amount 4.
Oh, sorry. I'm actually that's the next. I skipped. That's not quite right. I skipped one step, but that's coming up. So yeah. So instead of saying amount 4 element, the next step is to find every reference to the old method and adjust the reference to the use method. In this case, the step is easy because we just created the method, and it is only in one place.
Yeah, so we already did that on line 17.
Yeah, so instead of saying amount 4 element, so right here we're just going to say rental dot amount due. We're just going to replace it with that up there. And then we can just get rid of this method here.
We never needed to write that method to begin with. It's very strange to me that he chose to do it that way. But I guess it was to demonstrate both the extract method and the move method.
Yeah, and to demonstrate to take small steps, I think, too. But yeah, I mean, you could probably just skip that, right?
You could definitely skip that.
Yeah. But I think for writing a book, you want to demonstrate each small step and how you want to demonstrate it like a proven algorithm, right? And if you start like skipping stuff, you might I guess not every case will eventually, like when you use the extract method, not every case will follow up with a move method. It could just be like, oh yeah, this needs to be extracted, but it is in the right class.
Yeah.
So
here's anyway. It was just weird because we extracted it into an amount 4, and then we put it on rental, and then rather than changing the call on line 17 to just call that rental method, we were calling for a little while the wrapper method of this class of the rental method, and that just seems a little strange.
I just broke it.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, because it's not rental dot amount due, it's element. So that's that.
Yeah.
So I gotta change that to element. And I hope he changes that soon. Does he change it now?
We can change it whenever we want. I just didn't.
We can change it and whenever we want. I'm trying to follow the book though. No, I mean, yeah, we should just go ahead and change it because that's very small change. Well, I don't know, because it is used in a lot of places here. So
here's what I suggest we do if we want to be really conservative about this, and it would be to just run the test suite now and see if it's green, and then if it is green, replace it, and then run it again.
Sounds good to me. All right. So now I can use my control option. Let's highlight it first.
So awesome.
Is that all of them? Rental. Save. Run it again.
Awesome. And you're right, it was used a lot of places, Nick, but it was only used within a single method. It's not like it's an instant.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so now replace temp with query. Do we have enough time? Yeah. So he says the next thing that strikes me is that this amount is now redundant. It is set to the result of element.charge and not changed afterward. Thus, I can eliminate this amount by using replace temp with query. So I'm going to go ahead and make the change and then talk a little bit about, we'll just read from the book some of my highlights that I have here in the book. This is what is, I don't know, this is kind of like a really fascinating change for me. I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I kind of like that it's a bit more descriptive. Like, so here, so wherever we have
that's just because we gave it a bad variable name, and well, he gave it a bad variable name and we never changed it.
Yeah. So wherever this temp variable is, it is not changed at all. So what we can do is just take this rental.amount due, and then wherever this is at, we're just gonna paste that in there. And this we can just get, oops. We can just get rid of that. So now the total, so now for each result, rental.amount due, and then the total amount, and rental.amount due gets appended to the total amount. All look good?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of. So this is what, you not like this refactoring method?
It's fine. It's not, I wouldn't have done it, but it's fine.
Yeah, so I don't know, coming from a background in learning Java at a university, I was taught not to do this.
Yeah.
This is not the right, this is less efficient. Now we're calling this method and rerunning it twice when we only have to run it once.
Agreed.
So, so he says, okay, so once he's made the change, he checks to make sure he hasn't broken anything. So good. And he says, whenever I've gone through this example in a talk, this refactoring leads to angst from at least some people in the audience. The biggest source of angst is performance.
Yep.
Because now we're calling the method twice instead of once.
Yeah.
And some people would avoid making this change solely for that reason. However, this kind of thinking about performance isn't a good way to get good performance. And he says, see the section in chapter 2 named Refactoring and Performance. So I'm kind of, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, sounds good. The one thing that I would do, since we just ran and got a green, we can continue to refactor, and I'll just show you what I would do. I would get rid of this redundant to S call on 26, because that'll implicitly be converted to a string because it's showing up in an interpolated string. No, it will not.
Yeah, this isn't JavaScript, dude. Yeah, Ruby doesn't like that. We're not interpolating it. I mean, we could interpolate it.
Oh, we're not interpolating.
Yeah, we're not interpolating it.
Oh, well, we should be interpolating it. Yeah, we should be.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to do that.
I mean, if this was JavaScript, I think that would have worked fine.
No, I thought we were interpolating it, even though we clearly weren't.
No worries.
Let's see. And now I might be one off with the spacing on this, in which case everything should fail because everything is sort of predicated on that output, having the right white space stuff. because of how specific we're being in those actual matches.
Yeah. Yep.
But
let's find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Looks good. Good job.
And I'm now going to get rid of that 2S, which is the whole reason I wanted to do that. Great.
Because that's just more bad performance, right?
You know, just like fractionally, it's more about the clutter in the code than it is about the performance. And
yeah, no, no,
yeah.
I agree. I don't know. It's kind of, I mean, I think either way is good, but I guess it all depends.
Yeah.
I think it all depends on what convention you follow, I guess. Or not convention, but like what looks good to the beholder, right?
Yeah. Well, I like this better than with the concatenation, and definitely when we do it interpolated rather than concatenated, we no longer have a need to make that to S call, so that enables us to remove a little bit of clutter there.
Yeah, I tend to avoid trying to use the when I'm building strings, I tend to avoid using the plus equals for strings because that's kind of, I think that's not so good in Ruby doing the plus equals. The shovel operator.
Yeah,
I'm talking about. I think that's better.
so I never use the shovel for strings. Do you know why it's better?
When you use the plus, it's actually creating new strings each time.
I see.
Like in the underlayer, so in the heap or whatever it is. So yeah, each time you're using the plus, it's actually generating more strings for garbage collection to pick up. Whereas you use the shovel method, because strings, I don't know, strings not in every language. I think strings in most languages, strings are immutable, and so every time you like add to it, you're creating a new string.
Yeah.
But when you use a shovel operator in Ruby, then you're mutating the actual string, I believe. And so you're not creating new strings everywhere.
Yeah, interesting.
But so it's just, I don't know. It really, I think in the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't matter. Either way is fine. But
yeah. Well, I mean, that'd be certainly, certainly we could do that. What I would actually do here, let me just show you this real quick. So I would actually put rental header here, and then I would put rental header here, and you know, obviously get rid of the plus here. And then if we wanted to do the shovel, we could do that here for these two.
Oh, you're gonna, yeah, you just broke it.
Yeah, where?
So the plus, you need the plus, or you need to do the, or you need to do the shovels here too. So now run the tests again. Yeah, I guess not. Let's say, what's it say?
Oh, I know what I
did. Find variable.
Nope. We need to undo your change, and we just need to do my change properly. That doesn't work either.
You do need the plus though.
Why?
Because this right here, you're assigning rental header to here, and then now you're actually just, when you're assigning this string, you're getting rid of this assignment. So this is kind of pointless here. You might as well just delete that if you have that down there.
No, put that back and explain it to me.
So so here you have a string.
Yep.
You're assigning it to rental header.
Yep.
And now here, down here, you're not doing anything with this rental header.
That's not true. Look at line 26.
Oh, wait, rental header, rental. Oh, I see what you did. Oh, never mind.
But anyway, it's still not working. Can we see what the failure message is?
Yeah. I thought it said undefined variable result. What line is that on? Line 31.
Undefined local result.
So I wonder if we change these to plus. Oops.
Oh, I know why that is. I know why
Okay.
that is. It's a scope issue, right? Because on 15, we were setting result before we went into the block. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah. Yep. So if we come up here, I don't know. We could simply say result.
Yeah.
And then just change that to or shovel or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we could leave it as an equals or do the shovel. The behavior, I think, might be the same for both implementations. Because you're either shoveling into an empty string or you're resetting an empty string, and either way should yield the same string output.
Well, if you reset it here, it's a local variable now.
No, if you reset it there, it's still going to be setting the scope of the outer variable. So let's try it with,
even in the out. I'm still in the.
yeah, so if we try it, oh gosh. So what's the problem now? Amount owed is 3. Okay.
Jesus. No. One thing he says about the going back to the replace temp with query. He says one thing. He says while you're doing refactoring, you should focus on clarity and then later focus on performance as a separate activity. So that's the one thing that he said that really got me thinking about, when I'm refactoring. Okay, yeah, maybe it might make sense just to get rid of that temporary variable and focus on clarity.
Yeah, for me, the temporary variable doesn't subtract from the clarity. I mean, it's fine, this refactor. It's just I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, but I mean, I have seen some code where it definitely does subtract from the clarity, and it would have been nicer just to put in the query in its place. But in the past, I was reluctant to do that because I thought, oh well, it's not really good practice. I guess it's going to take a hit on performance, even if it's only takes less than a second to run that query. But
I mean, we're talking, picoseconds potentially. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, so one is still failing, which is interesting. And it's when the customer has no rentals. Anyway, I would be completely fine with just reverting this to the last green state and moving on.
Sounds good.
Let's see here.
He goes on to say almost all the time extra method calls won't matter.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So I mean, and that's what we're doing here. We're make all these temp with query replacements. They're extra method calls, right?
Oh, I agree. They won't matter. I just wouldn't have done it. I would not have done that refactor.
He says in the rare cases they can be dealt with later. And he says oftentimes you get opportunities to make better performance improvements when they're dealt with later.
I agree 100% with that.
That's a bit interesting. So I mean, yeah, so this section I found really interesting, the replace temp with query.
Oh, we're still on rental header up here. Okay.
You can just hit Command Z, right?
I've been doing that.
Oh, okay.
So, still not quite. Amount is 3. total amount. Yeah, I did that, and then it got to a point where.
And one important thing is for like when you're replacing temp with query, you have to the biggest danger area with that kind of refactoring is that you have to make sure that the charge method for us. It's the amount due method is idempotent.
Yep, idempotent.
So, idempotent.
Yep.
So, which makes sense. And so it looks like we're about, so we're past 11 o'clock. So.
Oh, shit. Yep, I got to go. I forgot about my hard stop at 2. Thanks, man.
Thank you. So, yeah, so next week we'll continue from page 18. And we'll start with the extracting frequent reader points up next. All right, thanks for joining. Later.